A way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. My name is Crypto Amaru. It is October 9th. We got the whole surf crew in the house. I am loving this. BNB season. It was so great. I loved it. We did a 10x. I was thinking about bridging money over. I was hunting for memes. I was so ready for this to be a thing, and then I wake up this morning and the DAO members had shown that it all crashed 90%. Why, crypto gods, can't we have anything nice this cycle? Oh my goodness. So we're going to talk about that. Do we think BNB season is done? It's a temporary setback? Were those just scam memes to begin with, and there's good ones sort of lurking behind the scenes? So we'll get into that discussion. Bitcoin. Do you want to go up or down, bro? Make a decision. Make a decision. I'm bored of this consolidation. I need up or down. Choose. We'll discuss which way we think it's going next. And then Nick just did an impassioned video to Richard Hart, the founder of Pulsechain. Bro, we're hanging on by a thread. We've been so patient. Throw us a bone. Throw us a bone, Richard Hart. Oh, I'm on my shit this morning, boys and girls. I'm having a good time. All right, so first of all, Nick, I'm so glad that you took profits on that one BNB meme that you chased after. I don't know how it's doing now. Maybe it's still up, but it seems like most of the others have crashed massively. Yeah. So let's take a look at that and then talk about that.
I'll share the screen. I'll start with what the DAO member shared. So essentially, first of all, we got into Palu at a $6 to $8 million market cap. We sold 90% of the bag at $70 million. It went to $108 million, and you had people like Jake Goggin and James Wynn saying they're buying, and this thing's about to get listed on Binance and go to $1 billion. Now it's back to $45 million. So even if you took the original buy and didn't sell, you're still up, whatever that math is, 4 or 5x. But that's why you got to put these things in perspective. Also, these 95% dips, it's like from what market cap? I don't recognize any of these. The one I do recognize is BSC here. This one actually is already back up to $6 million market cap, so it did do a 2x off this low already from just this morning. And another one is Season, because this is another one. We bought Season at a $750K market cap, sold 50% of it at a $50 million market cap, or something like that. I'll have to do the math on that one. 750K market cap, we sold some at, I don't know, 20 million or whatever. It's back to 2.3 million, but this one now I just looked and is already back up to $6 million market cap, bouncing off the lows from this morning. So a lot of volatility, but I think the name of the game is if you're buying the hype even 2 days late on BSC, yes, you are probably down 90%. If you were 2 days early, you are still in gains even with these dips. And this comes to the question, is BSC season over, or is that a nice healthy reset? Because remember, for example, Season, this thing was 750K, went to 25 million, then down to 2 million, so still a 2x off the low, and now back up to 6 million. Are we about to start another wave, or should you just take what you can get? Look, I don't know the answer, but what I will say is I'm sticking to what I said yesterday, is I don't know about these in particular meme coins here, even though I do own Season, I do own some BSC, full disclosure, and I do own some Palu. What I do know is I don't think it is over, because CZ is literally going to an IRL conference. They're going to be in a conference today. They just announced that they're going to be launching, they have 4.meme, which is their meme coin launcher. Now they're launching a pre-sale launchpad launcher for Binance to get you on a Binance Alpha, Aster, and whatever. They got a ton of money. BNB is still holding at $1,200, about $100 off the high. I think Binance season is just getting started. I think Binance is still going to push. And if Binance season fails with everything they're doing and CZ's active and they're launching new launchers and Aster and all this stuff, well, maybe this cycle is cooked. And the only way to make money is buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or BNB itself.
What say you, Nate? You ever ape into any of these coins? I know you were working on it.
I did. So, fortunately for me, I went to bed last night before aping into 8. And this afternoon when I got back on, it had gone down like 60-70%. So I did end up buying there. It looked like a good spot to buy. I think it was at like 150 or 120K market cap. It was at like closer to 400 yesterday when we looked at it. So yeah, I still aped though. I bought a little baby bag of it. I think that the BNB season is just falling prey to the entire market. Like there's nothing that's green today, or well, almost nothing. Everything's pretty much red. We're still dealing with what we talked about last night with the PTSD in the market. Like the market is so still super shaky. When Bitcoin goes down, even the hot trends, there's nothing that's standing up right now. It's all falling over as soon as Bitcoin dips. So until we get a little more confidence back in the market, until people can get over their weak knees, their PTSD, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be, the only time you're going to see any pumps is when Bitcoin's pumping.
Yeah, so on a serious note, I agree with Nick, and actually Nate as well. First of all, BNB season is not done. CZ is going to continue to push it and make it a thing. That said, the same rules that applied to memes previously, when it came to Ethereum meme season or Solana meme season, those rules still apply, right? For some of those rules is, look, when you're in big profits, just take the profits because you never know when a huge crash can come. That's what we saw today. The other thing is, like, there are still, quote, fundamentals behind a lot of these memes. Yes, they run on narrative, yes, they run on sort of hot sector, but it's also, is there a community behind it? Is there a leadership that's actually super active and out there on X and out there promoting itself and rating and joining spaces and galvanizing a community? So those rules still sort of apply, I think, on even when it comes to BNB meme season. So I think a lot of them will die, right? That's the thing. Like 90% will die, but then you'll have a few that rise from the ashes that actually create a great community, have strong leadership, and will stand the test of time. So I don't know which ones are going to survive. I haven't looked at any of them because I'm not playing this game. But for those who did, hopefully took profits and found some gems.
I'll run through a couple of them now. We'll start the show with that, and then we'll get into some news articles. But I'll run through and kind of give my perspective on, what the fundamentals are. And again, with them launching, 4.meme is going to produce a ton of memes. And with them launching the Launchpad presale, do these old ones have any fuel left in the tank? Will they get another rise? Well, some of them have been listed on Aster, have been listed on Binance Alpha, and that can lead to a Binance listing. So I wouldn't give up on all these totally, but I just want to kind of give you the rundown of the narrative here. Nihao is one that a lot of talking about. That's like Crypto Bitlord and stuff, but they do not have an active community or an active Twitter. They would need a CTO. I do not own this, but it is like a 500. You got BSC, Binance Super Cycle. This is something that CZ tweeted about. You got Jake Goggin behind this, James Wynn behind this. It could potentially get an AsterDex listing, which maybe leads to a Binance Alpha listing. This is at like a $6.5 million market cap. Those guys are buying this thing at a $50 million market cap. You have 8. This is a kind of a flyer low cap. This is one. This was our third one, using some profits to get into 8. 4s and 8s are a big narrative on Binance. 4 exploded, 8 has not. We're at 300K market cap. It's at like 130. It looks like Nate just picked up a YOLO bag at 150K. Again, tiny market cap. This is something you put $100 in. They are active on Twitter, but they have not had any connection with CZ, Binance, Aster, or anything just yet. Yepe. This is the yellow Pepe of Binance. $14 million market cap. It is listed on AsterDex. It does have some connection to CZ. Will it get a Binance Alpha listing? That could save this thing. Yepe, we do know Pepe surged. Every chain needs their Pepe. Here's Yepe, so that's an interesting narrative. I have a little YOLO bag of that. Season is the one that we made a killing on. BNB meme season. Binance tweeted about it, or CZ tweeted about it. This is the one where they just showed down 99%, down to 2.3 million, went all the way back up to 10 million. I looked at their Twitter feed, no new news. So somebody there is buying that. Maybe they know a Binance Alpha listing is coming. I don't know. I like the narrative, but we do have a free 50% bag, so take that with consideration. They are listed on Aster. They were one of the first 5 memes to be listed on Aster, so they do have a connection there. This one could get Binance Alpha and could get Binance in the future. Pup, I do not have a bag. Just got listed on Binance Alpha this morning. Only the second token to do that. The only other one to do that is Palu. You can see massive new all-time highs, giving back the gains, but still a pretty constructive chart at a $20 million market cap. Pup, will this one kick on? I don't know. It got a Binance Alpha listing, only the second one to do that. And then, of course, we have Palu, where the journey all started. We're in at 6 to 8 million, sold 90% of 70 million. This thing went to $130 million, all the way back down here to 34 million. You had Jake Goggin and James Wynn themselves being in a live show, buying this thing at 108 million, saying it will be listed on Binance in the next 7 days. Back down here at 35 million. Look, we got our 10% bag. Where's the low on this? Palu is the biggest, most organic, and probably has the highest probability to get on Binance. Where does that lead this chart? I can't tell you. But somewhere down here, I'm telling you, this one has the highest chance to be the organic runner on Binance. And if you missed this big gain, or you like Jake or James Wynn, they were buying at 108. You get a chance to buy at 34. It went down to 26 million earlier today. Again, this thing can keep going because remember, look at this, how quick this ran. When people are in this much gains and people see red, they're going to sell. We got in at 6 to 8 million. We got in at 5 million before this massive run. So still sitting on massive gains. But this is the biggest organic runner. So that's kind of the rundown of the BSC memes that I followed. You can see some organic runners. Some have ties to CZ or Binance. Some have aspirational goals of getting Aster listings or Binance Alpha. And then some are just being pushed by KOL. So hopefully that helps you. You can replay that, as I know it's a mouthful, and see if any of them fit your risk parameters.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Clip that,
stuff, man. Great.
Yeah,
great
clip
stuff.
that. That's some meme alpha right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The one thing that jumps out at me, you think about this meme season, or we're calling this, compared to some others, this feels like a lot of them are just sort of relying or hoping on CZ, coming out of left field and like tweeting about it, or Binance listing it, or Aster listing. So it doesn't feel quite as organic. Now you could argue that, hey, even Pepe, even Brett, even like the ones from last cycle were relying on KOLs as well. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite as organic. So it's just tough. I mean, it's that Palu chart's crazy. Rema said it. It's insanely volatile. There was one that you showed that actually looked like it had kind of an organic looking chart, kind of a slow grind up, and then that had a little pump there. But yeah, it's crazy out there, boys and girls. If you are willing to risk the 70-80% downs, then jump in. But if you're just your risk tolerance say I'm not willing to do that, then stay away, because the risks are high as always when it comes to memes. So very interesting. We will keep our eyes on this story as time goes on.
You said
I encourage you guys to go back through. I know I'm going to be going back through that list he talked about. If Bitcoin's going to continue to dump here over the next couple days or weeks, in October here, I would imagine those are going to come down along with the rest of the market. But when things turn around, which we believe they will in relatively short time, probably by November at the latest, especially if we get, another rate cut announcement here at the end of the month, you might be able to get some absolute fire sale buys on those, what are probably going to turn into blue chip meme coins on BNB chain. I don't think any of us here think BNB chain's going away this cycle or next cycle or anytime in the near future. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on those blue chips that the Hitman just went through there. So I think not a financial advice, but might not be a bad idea to do the same.
Crypto Armor, you were talking about, a lot of these are just, sitting on a hope and a prayer, and that is true. But I think what differentiates why BSC has had runners that go from 750K to 30 million, and Solana has runners that go from 100K to 500K or 2x or whatever, is because of that hierarchy, because of that speculation, and that can create a community in the diamond hand approach. Because what BSC has that no other chain has, the only other chain that can possibly do it is Coinbase, if Brian Armstrong actually is a fucking Chad and stop being a little dweeb bending over to the US federal government. And the reason being, they get listed on PancakeSwap Launchpad or 4.meme, and now they're launching another pre-sale launchpad. So you get launched on one of those. If you can get to that next level, then you get listed on the DEXs. And then you have aspirations of AstroDex, then aspirations of Binance Alpha, and then ultimately Binance itself. And while you're trying to work up that hierarchy, you're also just hoping for some miracle tweet from one of the Binance sub-accounts or CZ himself that correlates to your meme that can create a pump and create a lot of gains. So obviously it's still just a casino, but there's at least something there that you can speculate on happening versus Solana and a lot of chains. They don't have a centralized exchange. They have just pump fun, and then that's it. And they have just such a PvP community and mindset over there. Everybody's so scarred. If they get 20% gains or 2x, they're out. Binance people aren't scarred just yet. Now today they're waking up like, oh my gosh, I get it. So Binance, if they want to keep the momentum, keep the hierarchy, they need to see some of these assets regain to glory. Not all of them will. There's been thousands of them. I just talked about 10 that I own or have seen on my news feed. Okay, so there's thousands of them. None of these might rebound, but that's kind of how I look at this and why BSC does have better trenches, that they have that hierarchy. And maybe in the coming months we'll be talking about Base in the same light because they have the airdrop, they have the centralized exchange, and just yesterday Coinbase announced that their DEX is now integrated with Coinbase's mobile wallet and their actual main centralized exchange. So from your Coinbase account, you can now trade in the trenches across all the DEX assets. They also said they will be listing new assets soon. They will be promoting new assets soon. So will Base come to life? They've failed to do so in the past, but they're the only other chain that has the possibility of that hierarchy like Binance does.
Yeah, well, now that the regulatory shackles are off, thank you, Donald Trump, Coinbase can take a little bit more risk and basically pursue a similar strategy to Binance. But I agree, like, if you're talking about trenches, I think Binance is still a better move than, like, trying to, port back over to Solana and go back to the PvP style. Because there is no hope in most of those assets to ever get listed on any centralized exchange, let alone a Binance. Whereas here, you have that hierarchy. So I agree, that is nice. But you're still in the trenches, guys. Yep. You are still absolutely in the trenches. You can still wake up and see that your asset is down 90%. And if you're down to take that risk because you're hoping for glory and 10x and everything, we've got you some 10x over the past few days, then more power to you. Rock and roll, and let's go. But there's a lot of people that are just, I'm not willing to take that risk. So just understand there is the risk still there, despite, I think, the fact that Binance is probably a better overall environment for this. It's still trenches, it's still memes, and you got to know the risks. So, all right.
And that's really why we took those profits like we did, and hopefully you followed along because now, I'm sitting free and easy here with some cash in the bank account, some BNB. I obviously, hindsight, should have sold it all. But you never know how these things are going to go. And even Palu went from 70 million when we sold up to 136 million. I should have sold there. But, at some point, you have to have some conviction. You got to support the projects that made you some gains. So I had to keep a moonbag, and that's kind of the mantra we're going to live by. But it looks like Nate's here looking at Gordon, but he was also looking at Jake. Some KOLs are shitting on it, while other KOLs are still staying in the trenches and saying what we're believing is like, hey, this is the name of the game, but we would rather do it on BSC than Solana.
Shout out to the 72 people we've got tuned in here already on X over here. See if there's any comments. Can't pull them up there, but shout out, guys.
I think it's definitely premature to say this is over because a lot of these will recover and it'll be like, oh, that was like a blip. That was the first dump. There's always that 90% dump, and then a lot will die, but then a handful come back and become the blue chips, like Nate said. So what's going to be the next Pepe? My guess is it's going to come out of BNB chain, and it could very well be Palu because I feel like that one does have kind of the strongest narrative backing. The connections. I think it could get listed on Binance. I don't know that for a fact, but there are a few of these I think are going to become blue chips, and then that chart will look like a little blip. That 90% drop will look like a blip, and all Gordon will be eating his crow, as we say. So we're going to be good. We're going to be good. BNB season's not done, but man, be careful out there, boys and girls. It's fucking crazy.
Checking the comments on X here. Shout out Connor Woods saying, I miss Farmer Frank on base.
Oh, man, that one had a little run for us, too. We had that one at like 100K, went to like 1.5 million. It was producing ETH every day. The getting was good until base season dried up and Farmer Frank dried up and died like all of them. But, that one we did trade like 3 separate times getting gains and had the passive income. So hopefully when you're getting profits on something, you're not like, hey, I took 100, turned it to 1,000, and then you wait for a dip and you put that whole 1,000 back into it. Put another 100 back in or 500 back in, and you keep taking some profits so that if they die, if they don't work out, then at least you've scooped profits off the top and you can kind of move on to the next. It's never fun to watch projects not do well, but when you're taking profits and then buying the dip, you can't full port the entire bag back into the dip. That's when you can get burned.
You know what reminds me of Farmer Frank? Surf token. Farmer Frank was his tax token, right? And it was using its taxes to like buy other tokens, and it's kind of a unique thing, but it was fundamentally a tax token and using those taxes to sort of benefit the ecosystem. Yes, it didn't work out in the long haul, but that is what I like about Pulsechain. And maybe this is a good segue over to Pulsechain because we got Hex in the house. He's concerned. PLS morale at all-time lows. Maybe not this morning though. I'm waking up as like a guy who didn't ape into the BNB mania, just kind of because I'm lazy and I don't really care enough. I'm waking up. All right, maybe this is an opportunity for something like Pulsechain to kind of sort of shine and say, look, we're not a pump and dump, PvP environment. We are a little bit more collaborative, and we have tax tokens that can help the whole ecosystem. Blah blah blah. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise for Pulsechain. I know that was a sentiment shared in our DAO group. But yeah, Pulsechain obviously struggling. A lot of alts struggling, of course. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Farmer Frank. You talk about some of these assets that are a little less PvP. That is still out there. That is still out there, particularly on Pulsechain with assets like Surf.
Yeah, and I guess talking about Pulsechain, if you want to run through the story of what kind of happened last night, what spurred me to do another little video last night. Well, that was this tweet here. It's Richard Hart's birthday. I got a little echo from you, I think, Crypto Amaru. He said a cool new stat site has appeared on pulsechainstats.com, and for my birthday, they made a Richard Hart page. I'm going to do a separate video on the Richard Hart page, so it's not about this. But I did do a video just kind of talking about the all-time low morale on Pulsechain, even though Pulsechain still has higher lows, but it is starting to flirt with that do or die line that I've had marked here in white. You're in this gray area right now, Richard. Above green, you get glory. Below white, doom and gloom, you're a failure. So we are getting very close here. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But anyways, PLS, higher lows, morale, awful. So I went to this Pulsechain site. This is a pretty cool site if you guys want to dig into Pulsechain. But not only Pulsechain, you can also see the ROI from launch on other assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else. If we get rid of everything except for ADA, this is what I did a video on. If you want to see my full breakdown, you can watch the full 5-minute video. I'll give you a little 30-second synopsis. Look, this was ADA. It's currently one of the largest assets in crypto. Not the best performer, but look where the blue line is. Pulsechain is mimicking that to a T. And why is this interesting? This was when ADA was hated. Everybody called Charles Hoskinson a scammer. IOHK sucks at developing. Holy shit, this is when ADA was 4 cents. I bought it at 4 cents. COVID happened, it went to 2 cents. Oh God, Nick, you suck, you're down 50%. And within a couple months, it went from 2 cents to over $2. Yes, a 100x in a few months. And who is following in the footsteps of ADA? Potentially Pulsechain. So all I know is I was in spaces all day yesterday just listening and lurking, not even talking. And my God, these people, if they get a 2x, they want out. A 3x, they want out. Talking about Richard Hart's fat, talking about this, talking about that. And their PFPs are Pulsechain logos. The morale cannot get any lower. We got 22 million on the run. You got Richard Hart tweeting, does it follow in the footsteps of ADA? Do we pivot and leave people behind? We shall see. But I got a full video on that. What do you guys think of Pulsechain and kind of having some consistency here with ADA, even though it's lagging some of the other big names?
What's that website? We should share that in
Pulsechainstats.com.
Yeah, some really great stuff in there. No, it's a beautiful looking chart right there. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people were calling Hodgkinson a scammer back then, saying they had no tech, no real utility. A lot of people are still saying that now. But the market cap, as you mentioned, the price has appreciated very, very nicely from there. So I'm not dumping my bags. You know, when how's the old saying go? When everybody else is scared, get greedy. When everybody else is greedy, get scared. Something along those lines. So yeah, when people are bearish on something like this, you know, might be a good time to balk the trend and double down.
Are we the only influencers out there that still love Pulsechain?
There's some still people, but I mean,
are still positive. If you guys like positive influencers, come over to Crypto Paradise. Sick of the whiners, sick of the.
The morale is bad. There's still a couple out there like B Roots, but even B Roots is multi-chain like us, so he's just like, hey, look, I'm still holding my bags. I still really believe in PTGC, but nothing's mooning over there, so I got to look at other chains. But what's interesting is too with ADA is, like you said, not a lot of people use ADA. It's not EVM compatible. It's hard to get on board, and it still did over 100x. But even during the bear market, look what the lows were. You're way up here. It never even got close to this 2 cents or 4 cents again. And this is how you go multi-cycle. This is pre-altcoins. I mean, this certainly looks like, look, I'm not a big ADA guy. This certainly looks like a rounded bottom, and it's probably going to make another high this cycle when other alts start going. So, I mean, this is how you can get left behind. This is how you never get the opportunities again. Yes, there will be bear markets. Yes, this hasn't been fun on Pulsechain. This has been down and to the right. But I see activity on chain. I see Richard Hart activity. I see some light and some hope. Does this mean, hey, we're going to pivot? No, but it's saying, hey, this has happened for another big asset before, and look what happened when everybody's morale went to all-time lows.
Moon or dust?
There's a chance. There's a
Moon
chance.
or dust. Like, and we've been saying, don't have your entire portfolio in Pulsechain. That's the people who I think are really down in the dumps, who just like went all in, never looked at anything else. Everything's in Pulsechain. They're down massively. I don't think that's wise to have every asset on one single chain, unless maybe that's Bitcoin, right? And then just, okay, fine, you know, you're on easy street if your time horizon's 10 years. But yeah, don't have everything in Pulsechain. Be like us. Be like B-Roots. Have some diversification. And then you can weather the storm. I can weather the storm on Pulsechain because look, my Ethereum's done well. My BNB's done pretty well. Bitcoin obviously has done great. So like I'm chilling. I can wait for this cycle to sort of play itself out fully. The big caps still need to run, guys. I don't even think we're there yet. We're not even in big cap season, let alone, you know, mid caps, which I consider Pulsechain a mid cap. You know, so the cycle, let the cycle come to you. Don't prematurely sell out because of morale, because you're mad or whatever, to let the emotions get the best of you. Moon or dust, baby. Moon or dust. Let's fucking go Pulsechain.
Well, we will find out in the next couple months here. But again, I think a lot of our audience is in a similar boat. Like, yeah, you can make some good gains with Ethereum. There might be a 3x in Ethereum yet this year from 4K. But, you know, if you don't have a 3x on a grand or a 3x on even, you know, 10 grand, it's nice, but it's not life-changing. If you want the life-changing gains, you got to dig a little deeper. You got to take more risk. And that's, you know, with assets like Pulsechain. That's going to be with some of these memes. That's going to be with, you know, early stage projects launching. That's with getting on, watching these live streams to get the alpha the earliest. So if you want safe, and there's nothing wrong with that, Ethereum, Bitcoin, blue chips like that, absolutely, 100%. That's the kind of stuff I advise my dad to get into. If you want a little more degen, if you want that risk, if you want to have the chance to make those, you know, 20, 30, 50, 100x life-changing gain kind of money, where you can turn a little into a hell of a lot, again, you're going to need to have a bigger appetite for risk. And that's, you know, that's where Pulsechain comes in, and a lot of these other projects that we've been talking about. So got to decide for yourself. Are you willing to risk it for the biscuit, or you want to play it safe? No wrong answers, but
yeah, ideally you do a little bit of both, right? Like if you have the capital, you have some that's stocked away in the safer blue chips, and then you have bags to play with that are for the higher risk if you still want to swing for the fences. Like to me, that's how I treat my own portfolio, not financial advice. But you know, I've got the blue chips, and then I got my my moon bags, you know, that I'm fucking around with. So yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. But bottom line is, I don't think anyone is really going to make too much money in altcoins until we're in like an alt season and Bitcoin dominance has dropped, and you know all the things that we always talk about. So probably have a little bit longer to wait, guys. I was joking around in another group. Patience is now my middle name, but it's also my first and last name. That's how you have to treat this shit. You got to be patient, patient, patient. Because, man, we've been waiting for years for alt season. My goodness.
Gordon's still going. He just posted again. I've never seen anything rug like this on Solana, to be honest. And that's just me being objective from an honest viewpoint. Obviously, he's just, you know, view farming. Because the funny thing is, these assets that are down 85% are still higher than their lows. In a rug, here's the other thing that pisses me off in crypto. Not him, because he's doing it for view clicks. But a lot of people probably watching, stop calling things rug if it's not actually a rug. The definition of a rug is liquidity is pooled, meaning your asset value has zero and there's nowhere you can trade it. That's a rug. Now, if something goes down 90%, you can call it a scam, or you can call it a dip, or you can call it whatever you want. But the definition of a rug is if all liquidity from the team or the dev is pooled. So if liquidity is locked and or burned, it cannot be called a rug. Maybe it's semantics, but you need to get your terminology right when you're talking about investable assets and here in crypto. So there's your Nick Hellman 101, go fuck yourself. It's not a rug unless liquidity is pulled.
Yeah, I can't tell if Gordon's being facetious, if he's click farming, if he's just trying to rile up Crypto Bitlord, because, I mean, who doesn't like riling up Crypto Bitlord?
I thought Crypto Bitlord quit crypto like 2 weeks ago. Or was that like, the 100th time he did that?
Quit,
so,
yeah.
That's his stick. That's your stick. You can't take anything crypto.
I know.
But also, Gordon,
these guys.
You know,
this is what keeps the trenches going, though. These personalities, these characters. You know, keeps things fun when we're bored and, you know, angry that our bags are down. But, yeah, you guys, you come here for the alpha. You come here for the analysis. You also come here for the grammar lessons and the definitions. Okay, so get the damn definitions right. A rug pull is a rug pull. A rug pull is not when it goes down 90%. A rug pull was when liquidity is removed. Hey, you guys learned something today. Welcome to class.
And Gordon too, he's probably just clickbaiting and being facetious, but also he's all in on Solana. Probably 90% of his portfolio, to be honest, lately is what he's been talking about. So he's like any of us. He's like, fuck, I don't know what his bags are. I just had $1 million and now it's down to 100,000 overnight. All the Solana liquidity is getting dried up. I mean, he's not feeling good today either. So he's got to make back some of that revenue.
Crypto, right? Even we'll talk our books, but we're a little bit more transparent about we have this bag, we're supporting it, blah, blah, we own it. That's why we're talking. But everyone's talking their books. So if you see a guy fudding Bitcoin, well, it's because he doesn't own any. You see Bitcoiners fudding ETH, well, they don't own any of that. You see what's his face fudding BNB, well, he owns all Solana. So just keep your skeptics hat on, your critical thinking hat on when you're in this space, and hopefully you guys learn a little something here on Crypto Paradise when you tune in every day. All right, I want to say hello to Meek Chapo as well. Don't want to forget the loyal viewers here and the subscribers. Of course, remember to like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Todd. What else we got going on today? We didn't even look at the Bitcoin chart. Nick, are we going up, down, sideways? Like, can this market make a damn decision already?
Bitcoin's actually outperforming Ethereum here. I'll pull up these two charts. Bitcoin's still holding 122.4. As you know, Todd did sell this a little bit lower. He's looking for, if you're going to remain bullish, the LE wave count is a 119.5 area to be a buyer. We did get down as low as 120. But Bitcoin's still trying to consolidate up here. If it holds itself, it could just consolidate, make a bull flag, a pendant, and go higher. But ultimately, if you got a support at 119, 119.5, then you're looking at the next move to 150. Now, why is this interesting? Look how pretty Bitcoin chart potentially looks. Could be a high-level consolidation here versus Ethereum. Catching people off guard. Boom. Straight down through the moving averages. Now, if you've been following live, I've been saying you could easily get back down to these moving averages or back into this buy zone of opportunity and get back down to here. 4,200, 4,300 would be major support to remain bullish. And what do you know? We have fallen from 4,800 FOMO over the weekend down to 4,366 so far. Again, 4,300 to 42 is what I've been saying. We hit a low of 4,323. Is the low in? Do we go lower? We shall see. But you're kind of in this range where if you want to remain bullish, you really need to start holding these levels with like 4180 being kind of the YOLO line of like, all right, Ethereum, put yourself back together. Don't prove all the bears right and have people calling that the top's already in.
I mean, I think the ETH chart looks decent still. Like it's due for a bounce. Looks a little oversold. I mean, it's going to go up. I don't know when. I don't think it's going to crash. When we hit that, what was that, 30... What was that, 3,700 or something like that?
Yep.
I don't think it goes back there. I mean, right? So you could dip a bit more. But yeah, it'll bounce it probably along with Bitcoin when Bitcoin decides to run again. But to me, like, it doesn't make sense to be short in this market unless you're, just a day trader or whatever doing leverage. But generally be long because look at the stock market, look at gold, look at silver. Every asset is running like mad. So to me, it's like Bitcoin is also going to go up, guys. We're in a massive, insane bull market. You go watch CNBC, watch Bloomberg TV. I spend a lot of my day doing that. They're talking about melt-ups. They're talking about, are we in a bubble? Like, how high can this go? Like, everyone's investing more and more and more. That's eventually going to trickle down into Bitcoin and crypto, guys. So we're absolutely in a bull run. I think wiser to be long rather than short.
What do you got going on, Nate? I was going to throw it over to you, but you just sneezed snot all over your camera.
Nice.
Well, good. Still got a little maybe a lingering cold from the conferences there, but
COVID, lingering COVID, conference COVID. That's absolutely a thing, guys.
Could be, yeah.
The other charts. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you do it.
No, I got nothing. No, go for it.
The other charts that we've been kind of avoiding is Aster saying, hey, if it gives back up $2, look for another sell-off. Back to $1.78 today. Still could be a high-level consolidation. Obviously, the token economics, the backing of Aster is huge, but it went up really fast, and there is an airdrop coming. I'm not really interested or can't really take a position on Aster unless it comes down to probably below 150, but really I've been having this mark like 135 level. We got close to that before, haven't quite got there again. But showing some weakness today while Bitcoin's still holding. So, I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 119 and Aster does an airdrop, I think I probably get a chance to probably get a trade on Aster, and we'll have to evaluate when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch Aster now. There's an airdrop coming. Like, why would you buy something now knowing that people are going to be sent millions of free tokens, millions of dollars of free tokens in a matter of days or weeks? I don't know when the airdrop's going to happen, but I wouldn't touch that now. If you want to look to buy the dip, sure, go ahead and do that later. But anything that's about to have an airdrop, I just stay away as a rule of thumb.
And we also been talking about Linea, just kind of avoiding Linea. The reason being is their token unlocks start this month. I don't know when exactly they're all starting, but so far we've been right. It had its big run and it hasn't done anything since. On the lower end of its trend, if it breaks this level, it's heading back down to this white line we've had marked here for a while at around 2 cents. That one I really am not even watching for a trade. I'm not all that interested in what they got going on over there. They got airdrops, they got distributions. The only reason I'm rooting for it is because Joe Lubin's involved with it, and if Linea does well, SharpLink Gaming gets bigger DeFi yield. Bigger DeFi yield means SBET stock, which we hold, goes to the moon. So not really looking on a trade, just kind of monitoring because I understand that the success of this helps benefit our SBET stock holdings.
We've got a request here on X. It says, at Nick Hellman, he has a trading view link here. Overlay PMI with BTC.
PMI with BTC.
Yeah,
you have the link available?
Yeah, there's a trading view link. If you just pull up the
yeah,
chat,
I'll try to pull that up. If you guys want to go on to the next topic, I'll try to pull that up.
I can DM it to you as well here.
Saying hello to Martin. Hello, Martin. Thank you for joining up. You've missed a fun early part of the show, so I do recommend going back and watching here. But yeah, I'm just kind of chilling, boys and girls. I'm just chilling, waiting for the
slow
market.
news day. This is what happens when you stream every day. Sometimes there's slow news days. You just gotta make the most of it. While he's looking that up here, there's a few things to cover. We have Powell speaking this morning, or this tonight for me, this morning for you guys. Should be a preview of what is to come at the end of the month. I believe the next FOMC meeting is the 28th, 29th at the end of this month here. I mean, typically we see about 2 weeks out, so probably starting next week, all the speculation starts. All the rumors start circling. Are we going to get no cut, 25 basis, 50 basis, 75 point cut? What's going to happen? So expect that next week. With that comes a lot of volatility. Maybe we get maybe that's what busts this slump that we see Bitcoin going into. Maybe Bitcoin's recovered by next week already. Who knows? But do expect, especially coming into the end of this month, a lot of volatility and a lot of typical speculation that we see around the FOMC. But be on the lookout for a little bit of a preview here today on what might be coming there.
Fed is going to be dovish. They're forced to be dovish. Even though they don't want to be dovish, they have to be because the labor market's in shambles. Absolute shambles. And the government shutdown means they don't have the official data. The official data is basically useless anyway. So they only have the data from like ADP and the private employers, which showed that in September we lost 20-some thousand jobs here in the States. So the inflation's not going away, but it's hovering around 3%. Big whoop, who gives a shit? And labor market is what they need to be concerned about. The minutes, yesterday, the Fed meeting minutes from the last meeting came out, and it showed that most of the governors were more or less dovish. Even though they were reluctantly dovish, they were dovish. And that's why yesterday we saw a little bounce in the markets. Those minutes came out and we're like, oh, wow, okay. Fed is a little bit more dovish than we thought. Looks like rate cut, on for end of October. 25 basis point, mind you. We're not going to get a 50. But 25 basis point is basically, I think, a foregone conclusion at this point in October. And the market just needs to digest and accept that, and then we can resume up only here.
Well, I mean, there's only about two things you need to look at to understand, should they cut rates? What's the strength of the U.S. dollar? This is one of those. This is the chart. We actually looked at this yesterday. This is like a 14-year trend line that the U.S. dollar is sitting on. If it breaks below this, look out. If the strongest fiat currency in the world is plummeting, breaking through 14-year long trend lines, we're going to see gold do another 2x, and we're going to see Bitcoin do God knows what. But really, all you need to look at what gold is doing right now. Look what Bitcoin is doing right now. Look at what hard assets are doing. Look at what the dollar is doing. That tells you all you need to know about whether the government can say all they want, Powell can say all he wants, but the markets show you where people's faith is in the U.S. dollar, and it ain't great.
It ain't great. Shout out to gold, $4,000. Shout out to NVIDIA, by the way. NVIDIA just broke $4.75 trillion market cap. The AI narrative is not going anywhere. The AI melt up is not slowing down. My wife yesterday asked me, what AI company should I invest in? That's a pretty good sign that we're in an AI bull run. And it's just a matter of time before it trickles into crypto, at least into the majors. I don't know if and when it all goes down to alts, but
That's a lot of money.
Bitcoin is going to run, guys. Bitcoin is going to run massively. It's on that 80-day lag to gold. So just continue to be patient, patient, patient. That is our first, middle, and last name now.
Actually, that's got me curious here. We have let's ask Grok real quick. If Nvidia was a country, where would they rank by GDP? I want to see what $4.7 trillion puts them at if they were their own country. It's got to be top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the market cap, not so much the revenue is different, but yeah, I mean, it's insane how valuable that company is, and you know, that's just one of the AI plays. I think AMD, which is sort of a competitor to Nvidia, has gone up like 80% in like 2 months or something insane. Like, we are in an absolute melt up right now when it comes to AI plays, and I think that does trickle down to crypto at some point. But hopefully, you guys are diversified. Have some holdings in the stock market. I mean, I know we always shit on like, oh, S&P 500, you know, it underperforms this, that, the other, and I suppose it probably does, but it doesn't hurt to have it, in my opinion, just because these moments it's outperforming.
Check this out. So if we go purely by their revenues, Nvidia would be the 23rd largest country if their revenue was their GDP,
That's so
above Taiwan, where they make the chips.
That's kind of crazy.
That is.
Oh
now,
God.
if you went off their their market cap as a GDP ranking, they would be the 4th largest country in the world, right behind Germany, above India.
My God. My
That
God.
is
Jensen
wild.
Wang. How rich is that guy now? Holy smokes.
Well, and that's been going around on Twitter that he's been constantly selling shares, and people are like, he knows something you don't. It's time to sell. It's like, well, you just showed why you would sell. The dude owns tons of stock. He's a paper billionaire or whatever. Like, you got to take profits at some point. Even if you love Bitcoin, it's just like those guys who had dormant wallets forever. They had $9 billion in Bitcoin in one wallet, and they sold when Bitcoin went to 100K. They might still have Bitcoin. They might still have conviction, but at some point, $9 billion. You got to take something off the table.
Yeah, you're retiring your bloodline. Like, if you could retire your bloodline and just change everyone's lives around you, you kind of have to take that opportunity. So hopefully those following the channel and obviously us hosts here have that opportunity to change our lives at some point. It won't be this cycle. It won't be this cycle, but you hang on for 5-6 more cycles. You know, the guy with $9 billion, he held on since the very beginning. You know, so that's what it takes, guys, if you want to make life-changing money, in my opinion. You know, unless you get lucky on a meme. But
well, realistically, if you're a Nvidia stockholder, you don't want that much stock in one guy's hand. It's good for him to divest a little bit and spread some of that out, dilute his position a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's like the meme coin trenches, right? You want the dev.
Yeah,
you don't want the dev
exactly.
What supply.
The difference is he can sell and Nvidia goes down 1%. In the trenches, it goes down 90.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at some point you got to take profits. The same people were saying this about Amazon, you know, after COVID era, when it was rebounding, Bezos was selling because he needed a new yacht and his wife needed a new boob job or whatever. It's like, well, now he's probably kicking himself because Amazon's now up like 2 or 3x since he was selling. But at some point, when you have that much money and that much investment, you've worked so hard, so much blood, sweat, and tears, you have to take some profits off the table. And if you do it responsibly and you keep working, the price of that asset can keep going up.
I respect Bezos so much because he did like what I would do if I became a billionaire, which he basically stopped working and now just travels around and like fucks his hot wife. Like, good for him. These other guys, they won't fucking stop. Like, Elon, take a break, bro. I mean, not really, because, you know, we need you to keep working. Or the shares of Tesla depend on it. But, like, CZ, like, dude, slow down, man. Like, you know, relax. Like, get a hot wife or something. Like, what are you doing? I guess they're just not like that. They don't, you know, you don't get that rich by being, like, lazy, I guess. So, who knows? But shout out to Bezos, traveling around the world, fucking his hot wife. Good for him.
Well, we got to keep an eye on the time here. We probably got to be wrapped up here in the next 10 minutes. We got a potential new client partner and maybe Surf DAO Raise part that we're going to be jumping on a little call with. So a little, keep your eyes peeled for some announcements here. But the three of us are going to be on that call in a bit. Before we hop off, let's see what we got. One or two more things here. I think probably the biggest in a slow news week, Chinese citizens are going to be allowed to hold or to buy Ethereum.
I thought they just banned Bitcoin a week ago. What is going on? China, make up your fucking mind. Not Bitcoin, only ETH.
They know US doesn't have the strategic reserve yet. That's why they're going to make their Ethereum strategic reserve, and then we're going to have FOMO for that. That's what's going to happen.
Well, we've looked at this picture before. Why Ethereum? This speaks volumes right here. Not Bitcoin, not even Cloudflare has the record that Ethereum does for the last 10 years. 0 downtime whatsoever.
That's actually like fucking amazing. I didn't know that because Cloudflare is like a centralized provider, right? That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, good for ETH, good for China, man. We need a little hopium in the market, don't we, folks?
We sure do.
We do indeed. But yeah, like we mentioned, a little bit of a slow news day. Covered some bangers on BNB. I'm going to be going back and rewatching that. I think we'll probably clip that. I think that's a great clip to get out there. But I will be definitely keeping my eyes on those. I think we're going to see a little volatility here in October, which could provide some absolutely great buys for those. I think it's very unlikely that the blue chips that we've seen in the last couple days on BNB are going to be dead and go away. Whenever the markets resume, I would imagine they would too. So I'm going to be looking for some good entries on those. Shout out Hitman for that beautiful analysis today.
Absolutely. Palu's still a thing. CZ's still alive. Bull posting. They're still listing assets. We're going to be good here.
Announced that BNB chain gas fees have been reduced by 2,000% this year. So I don't know how that math works, but Trump did a similar thing saying that they're going to reduce pharmaceuticals by 1,200%, and he got a bunch of shit saying you can only go down 100%. But here he is. BNB chain gas fees have been reduced by 20x, 2,000% this year. Already first by 10x, then by 2x again. Builders build. So BSC, even though it's getting more usage, the cost per transaction continues to get cheaper. That's pretty interesting to see.
Well, he's going up against Solana, like we've been saying.
CZ isn't going to slow down.
We flagged this story 3 weeks ago because the validators had already agreed. By the way, the funny thing about the validators on Binance, there's like 6 of them. BSC is extremely centralized, and so you can kind of bemoan that fact. You can say, oh, it's antithetical to crypto, this, that, or you can say, hey, give the people what they want. Give them the meme coin casino on steroids. And that's what CZ's doing better than anyone. So I'm happy about it. I actually like BNB season better than Solana season, partially because most of my money is just on EVM chains, and I don't like bridging shit over Solana. But also because Solana, the mentality, it's just a bunch of PvP and annoying people, streaming weird shit on Pump Fund just to rug their buddies for $5. Like, come on. That's pathetic. So, yeah, good stuff today, boys and girls. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, more analysis. Maybe we'll have some Pulsechain assets to talk about. We have a new project looking to launch on Pulsechain. It's going to be a series of projects, a faith-based Christian sort of ecosystem. Very interesting, sort of the opposite of what we're seeing now across a lot of the market. A company that wants to help other people. What a thought. Let's see how the market responds to that.
Wholesome.
But, we need it, right? A little refreshing story there, which we'll get into.
As we were live, a whale sold out nearly their full position. 215,000 Pulse dumped on the market, and they have bridged 49.55 ETH over to Ethereum. Are they going to stay in Ethereum? Are they going to the BSC trenches? Are they going to Solana? Who knows? But that was a little Pulse alert that just popped up on the news feed. Did that mark a low? Richard Hart, if you're watching this, a whale just made a new, not a new low, but a low for the day. Come on, get in action.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, like, you have to do something. Because if you lose enough of these whales, I mean, I know Pulsechain there's still a lot of liquidity there, et cetera, but I don't know. I do think, maybe I'm not as doom as gloom as Nick. Like, if it drops below this line, it's, like, over forever. But, man, you don't want to lose too many of these true believers, do you? It starts to get to be a little risky.
Billionaire dick swinging competition. The BDSC is coming later this year.
BDSC?
He's waiting for.
BDSC.
Yeah,
He's waiting for it. CZ's waiting for it. Brian Armstrong's waiting for it. Charles is waiting for it. Justin Sun's always game for
There's
it.
gonna be one guy left in the crypto space, and then they'll start the pump.
Yeah.
Everyone
BDS
else will capitulate.
BDSC sounds like it needs to be on the BSC meme coins. You
Yeah.
need to launch that big
Yeah.
dick smart chain.
Yeah. But no, you're probably right, man. And things are going to turn around at some point for Pulsechain. They're going to turn around for your favorite alts. They're going to turn around for probably whatever shitty meme you were in on BNB chain. Because at some point things start to pump again. I just don't know if it happens tomorrow.
Till then, we'll keep farming. I'm gonna keep farming EMIC, keep stacking bags, keep hunting for alpha, keep leveling up, DCAing, and that's how we'll make it to the beach if we're not there already.
That's how you make it to the beach, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good stuff today. Hope you guys had fun. And until next time, we will see you on that